Hey everyone! It has been some time since I've spoken directly to viewers, so if you're used to the more recent content of just me and my friends being idiots and having a good time, fair warning that this isn't going to be the same thing. This is a bit of an apology to those few people who come back to the channel regularly for whatever reason they do. You see, over the past weekend my channel was hijacked, completely taken over by folks of malicious intent who were very quickly warned, and then the channel was outright removed / terminated in under an hour. Now, I'll be the first to admit that this channel has always been small potatoes and has more recently just turned into a dumping ground to share some of the laughs I have with my friends. I'm not monetized in any way, and I really only have a handful of subscribers. Big thanks to you guys, of course. So in the grand scheme of things, the channel being removed from the YouTube landscape wasn't a very big deal. But to me it was. According to the channel info, I opened this account in 2006, way before Google decided to pick up the bill for the monstrosity that the platform would become. That is a whopping 14 years ago, if you can believe it. And yes, the internet is at least that old. Back then, YouTube was the Wild West of video sharing. Corporate interests weren't a thing back then. They hadn't figured out how to make money on the internet yet, so YouTube was really just a bunch of people throwing videos up for shits and giggles like I do today. My very first video, for example, was uploaded in 2008, and it was just some dude's outgoing message when you hit his answering machine. Way back when I was working phone tech support. Not to sound ungrateful, of course, I am super thankful that the hijackers didn't delete any of my videos. I don't even know where the source files are, if I even have them at all, When the channel was terminated, I was completely locked out of it. All of this went down without my knowledge, and I'd left the house for the day, so I didn't even know what had happened until several hours afterward. My instant dread was that somehow everything I'd uploaded since 2008 was now gone, lost to the digital afterlife of unrecoverable bits, but I had no way to know. It was a struggle to get anyone to even acknowledge that I was having an issue, and that meant nobody could tell me whether or not 14 years of digital life still even existed. The thing is, in the aftermath of all of this, and after a lot of obsessive reading of other people's experiences, I think I have a good idea of what happened, but I don't know how it happened, and that's, the really scary part. If I have no idea how it happened, I'm not sure how best to stop it from happening again. And don't get me wrong, I've done all the right stuff so far. I got 2FA going, I changed my password semi-regularly, and it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know what I'm saying? But these jackasses bypassed all of that and got me removed from YouTube entirely, but more on that later. So how it went down was that I'd been working like a 15-hour stint starting at midnight on Sunday morning, all the way up into the afternoon. And for most of that time I wasn't even on YouTube. I was watching Scrubs for like the umpteenth time from the beginning while I plugged away at work. It wasn't until noon or something like that that I started watching about 3 hours worth of StarCraft story videos, and sometime while I was doing that, the channel got hijacked while I was still using it. So the point is, I wasn't doing anything shady or, visiting sites of disrepute that may have trapped me into clicking things I shouldn't have been clicking. I was totally just being as wholesome as possible. No bullshit or, no cap, as you might be so inclined to say. So while I was, zoning out to work in StarCraft lore, they changed my channel name and my profile to appear like the PGA Tour channel, set all of my content to hidden, and then started live streaming some golf footage. I would later find out that this was like 2019 footage, but the content didn't matter. What mattered was that they flooded my channel with about 800 subscribers to make it more visible, I guess, and I can only assume that they had had them connect to the live stream as well. As a side note, all of those subscribers are still in a list in my analytics, and a ton of them look like real people with content uploaded, like videos of chickens and stuff, from what I remember. Maybe they were also hijacked accounts, but it like reeked of bots, you know? Anyways, based on some research on an extremely similar incident that happened to someone earlier in the month, the scam is to get innocent bystanders to join the live stream and click on links in the chat. And oh, they use your account to post those links, so that's how you get reported and banned. So if you are or were one of my few subscribers and you caught that shit, I'm really sorry that you had to go through that, and I really hope you didn't get tricked into anything. On my part, I wasn't even paying attention to my email notifications, as my Gmail account is in my main. And I rarely get anything in there that's noteworthy, so I just wasn't paying attention. But had I been paying attention, I might have caught it all early. Instead, I was, you know, finishing up my ridiculous work stint, and I passed right out. And right after I woke up, I left the house for the day, so I didn't find out about any of this until I got home at around 10 p.m. And all of this went down between 1 and 2. Sad face. So based on the email trails that I had access to, because they didn't touch anything else, just the YouTube account, they got caught or flagged at 1:20 p.m. and the stream was shut down. Somehow they appealed that shutdown, which to YouTube's credit was only a warning. That original, you know, we've removed your content, was just a warning. But when they had sent in that appeal and the channel was, you know, subsequently quote unquote reviewed by 2 p.m., they determined that my channel was all bullshit and shut the whole thing down. And that means you can't get into it no matter what. Everything about it is scrubbed from the entire platform, except people who might have added you in the past in the comment section. It took 40 minutes to destroy a 14-year-old digital footprint. I wouldn't find out about it until later, that they tried streaming 2 more times before getting the channel completely shut down. I don't know how they did that, but you know, when it was recovered, I was able to see what they had done. Anyways, it shut down, so began the struggle for me to recover this dang thing, and the problem was that everything had been robots, right? From the hijackers to the appeal process, it all just stank of automation. There wasn't a human being in any of this, and that's what really gets me. All it would have taken was for an actual person to look at what was being done versus all of the now private content that preceded it to know that this wasn't me, you know what I mean? Well, the recovery process, at least initially, wasn't much better. You fill out a form, you get a prefab email, and you just wait. Now here's the tricky part. They eventually got back to me asking me to fill out another form, one that would allow me to provide more details so the channel could be investigated and possibly reinstated. Except the link to the form didn't link to a form. And again, based on the scouring of the YouTube Help Center, which is their forums, apparently this is a pretty common issue. So the problem was that I couldn't get a hold of anyone, and just trying to get a hold of someone just isn't a thing in that process, like through the official process that they have of, hey, fill out this form and this form and this form. So I saw that some people were getting traction in the help forum, so I did that, but nobody responded in 14 hours, and I don't blame them really. The forums are complete freaking chaos. But I figured I'd waited long enough, so I started looking around for alternatives. So I just want to say huge shout out to the Team YouTube Twitter account. They were on top of my sad tweet within an hour and traded messages with me over the course of another hour or two and got me access to the proper form. Once I had that filled out, the ball rolled fast and my channel was put back in action, and I was instructed to just go and do the damage. Most of that was simply setting all of my videos back from private to whatever they were, as the hijackers they didn't touch any of my playlists. But I did have to change my profile and remove all the golf stuff. It's actually pretty sly what they do. They change everything to look like the official PGA channel, and even link official playlists on the dashboard. So it'd be so easy to mistake it for the real thing if the chat content wasn't so blatantly obvious. The important thing is that once I started dealing with humans, I was able to get everything back quickly, and it was just such a huge relief to get it done, Having all that anxiety and everything was just not a good time. And the thing is, I can't even imagine what was what was done was even remotely effective, For all the trouble they caused, how many clicks did they really get? But of course, they don't give a shit. It's all robots anyway, and I'm sure they're hitting other channels as you're watching this. But thankfully, like I said, all of my videos and stuff were intact, and I was able to put them back to the way they were. But aside from that, the part that hurts the most, even though it's not really a huge deal, is that when they removed my channel, they removed everything else. All of the comments I had made over 14 years, all of the up and down votes, the wonderful conversations I've had with strangers over the years, and the hilarious arguments, of course, I had with other strangers, all reference to me is just gone from the entire platform, unless someone's comment mentions me, like, half the conversation that, still exists. And you can see that even on my own videos, like there's a Metroid Dread one where I am clearly trying to help someone out, but it's just a list of that one guy's own comments because now all of mine are gone. So on the one hand, it's not a big deal because, I don't live and die by likes or what have you, and no site is truly immortal. LiveJournal fell, MySpace fell, Vine fell, etc., etc. It'll take a long time before YouTube falls, admittedly, but eventually something better is going to come along. Or at the very least, YouTube won't look like it does today. And granted, also, a lot of videos I may have commented on no longer exist already. But as I said before, in less than an hour, 14 years of interacting and hanging out on the platform just vanished. And I didn't do anything except somehow let my authentication cookie get stolen. And that's how this whole thing works, based on, all the reading I've done. In order to bypass the layers of protection, somehow they scraped that cookie from me and gained access to do their stupid scam. Like I said, that's a pretty safe assumption on what happened, but how, I really don't know. I wasn't doing anything shady or disreputable at all, and even if I was, I know enough not to go to the ones that aren't well established, like the ones that don't sell merch. I think if they sell merch, you're pretty safe. Don't quote me on that, but like either way, I wasn't doing any of that anyway, so I'm left wondering just like how long it takes before it happens again, because I really have no idea when this breach happened and how long it takes for them to act on it, right? Because I really have no idea. Like if it was less than 24 hours, that was my day, was just sitting on Disney Plus or whatever, and just sitting on YouTube. I wasn't doing anything. I had a really busy busy Saturday going into Sunday. So what was I saying? It's just I have to find ways of trying to combat it, by constantly signing out and re-authenticating just to refresh that cookie. But I don't even know if that's even effective, So it's just, I'm doing what I can, but it's really hard to figure out what to do when you don't know how they got it in the first place. Whether it was, from my phone or a browsing session, I really don't know. But, it just means I got to change my password more often. But again, it bypasses all of that, so it's there's only so much you can do if it bypasses all the security. I mean, for my part, the suggestion is that anytime you want to post, you should have to do another 2FA authentication. I think that's the only way to make sure that no one is posting stuff without your knowledge. But staying positive, I have to give a big thanks to the people who run that Twitter account, and to the people working in creator support, of course. I've read that it can sometimes take over a month to resolve this problem, but for my small potato nobody nothing channel that doesn't even make any money, they got me up and running in a couple of days, and that is just simply amazing. They could have easily ignored me, but they did. And for the hijackers part, you know, I don't want to praise them, but they had all the opportunity to delete everything and make my life even more miserable, but they didn't. I just don't know what they really got out of it based on, you know, the damage that was done and the trouble that I had to go through. And it's not just me, you know, everyone who had to get involved to help me out, because, you know, it was spread out over a couple of days, over several hours. They don't sign their messages, so I'm sure I talked to a lot of people just to get this going. But in any case, I just wanted to say sorry to anyone who may have been caught in that spider's web, but hopefully nobody did. You know, my sub count is totally wacky as well, so if you were subbed and the recovery process unsubbed you, because it unsubbed a lot of people, and you're just wondering what the fuck's going on, well, you know, that's the story. More importantly, if you find yourself in a similar situation, my recommendation is you get in touch with a human as soon as possible. The help center eventually did get back to me, so it's definitely a viable option. But by the time they did, I'd already been reinstated. The folks on Twitter, again, big kudos to them, because they didn't stop working with me until I had got access to that forum. And once I got access to that forum, I was working with the creator support. So I guess what I'm saying is that this could have been a lot worse than it was, and the only thing that really got lost is my participation in the social aspect of the site. You know, it's a shame. One of my favorite things was to have someone comment or reply on something I wrote 10 years ago. They were replying to a very different guy than the one talking right now, and I loved seeing not only old ass videos I enjoyed back in the day, but also the shift in my perspectives. It's a truly unique feeling that I guess I won't have for another 14 years or so. You know, but at the end of the day, I'm just happy I'm back, and I hope this was entertaining or helped in some way. And I hope those subs that I lost find their way back, of course. You know, not that it makes any difference to my wallet, mind you, but it's not really about that. It never has been. And yes, I died in this video. Get over it. Anyways, thanks for listening to me rant. I know this is a very long video, but I just wanted to give some clarity on what happened, and hopefully, if you know you're in the same situation, maybe my story will help you out. But I just wanted to share, and I want to thank everybody who's stuck with me all these years. And if you ever traded words with me, I'm sorry there's no more record of that. Hopefully I can get that back. I'm still talking to YouTube support and maybe seeing if that can be reinstated, but I'm pretty sure all of that bit is a bit lost. So my only recommendation is YouTube get more humans in the process. I know it's probably a pain in the butt, but you know, the damage can be extensive, especially for an account as old as mine. It doesn't hit you in the wallet, and you know, obviously, like I said, it really isn't a huge deal. But there's a part of me that's a bit saddened, you know, based on what was lost. But for the most part, what was lost is minimal compared to what could have been lost. So I'm extremely thankful on that front. So yeah, that's it. I just wanted to say hi. My regular random ass clips are gonna come back. Who knows what I'll do with this channel, but I love having it around. I love, you know, all of the experiences that I've had for most of my adult life by being on this platform. And I really hope they get a handle on this scam and this bypass, and maybe figure out a better way to do things to keep it from happening, because having the robots do all the work is just not going to cut it, especially, you know, if you hit a channel that's much larger than mine, which has happened, of course. But at least, you know, they are aware of it. It's been going on for a while, and you know, they'll always find a way. But hopefully, you know, the smart people on the YouTube side of things are gonna be smarter than the hijackers. All right, that's it for me. I will see you on the next video. Cheers, guys.